Alright guys, on deck for review today we have the SIG Sauer P229R. It's the rail version, which is what the R stands for. This one's made in 2010, and I'm zooming in there so you can get a look at that extractor, because I know that's a controversial issue in the SIG community. We'll get into that more later in the video. We're going to do some shooting here on the 12-meter line, see if we can make that steel ring, not miss too many, hopefully. And then we're going to break the gun down, do some size comparisons versus other guns in its class, and at the end we're going to do a chronograph test with some popular defensive loads these days and see how they perform real world in this gun and not just what the manufacturers claim they do. So we're going to get into that right now, see if we can make this steel ring. Alright guys, that's the SIG P229R. Alright, I'm going to set up the shot timer here and fire a 3-shot group. We're going to test how this gun handles recoil. Get over here to the line, set the shot timer to random, and see what we can do. Alright, all shots there were on steel. We were at 10 meters there, and as you guys can see there, that's the splits. So there are people out there who say they don't like SIGs because they do recoil a little more or jump a little bit in the hand. I find that true for the 45s and the 40 calibers, but at 9mm these guns are very controllable, as you just saw there by my split time, and I'm no expert shooter. Time for the tabletop review here with the SIG P229. As you see, this is how it comes from the factory. Set this off to the side here. Comes with two 15-round mags nowadays. It used to come with the 13-rounders, but now it's coming from the factory with 15-round mags. As you can see there, made in Italy. That's a pretty controversial aspect for SIG fans these days, is the Checkmate versus Metgar mags. Mine runs fine with the ones that came with the made in Italy ones. Quick overview of the pistol here. It's a double action, single action gun, as most SIG Sauers are. So this one doesn't have the E2, or correction, does have the E2 grips, but doesn't have the SRT. So to fire the gun, it's a double action trigger pull on your first shot. As such, slide goes back, another round goes in the chamber, you release, and then it is single action fire from there. There's no manual safety on this gun, but it does have a decocking lever, so when you load a round into the chamber, the hammer will be back. You can decock the gun right there, and there's no chance of the hammer igniting that round. Why is that? Well, excuse me, I'll try to get it so you guys can see it here on camera. But when the trigger's pulled, it deactivates the safety there on the hammer, which allows it to go forward. As you can see, I'm holding the trigger to the rear, that hammer's going forward, striking that firing pin. When I let off the trigger, you can no longer push that forward. That's part of the internal safety that SIG Sauer pistols have. Some of the things I like about the gun, it's ergonomic. These new grips help. I like the old 229 grips, 228 as well. I had some experience with that when I was in the military, the 228. Great little gun. M11 is how they designate it. 229 is similar, obviously with a little bit heavier slide. This one here has the factory night sights on it. Comes with 2 mags, like I said, hard case. It's a good gun, all in all. I've shot approximately 600 rounds with this gun, and I've had 0 malfunctions, even though it has the controversial long extractor in there. I'll just zoom in on it for you guys so you can see. It used to have a shorter extractor, but now it has a longer extractor. That was a source of some controversy as well with this gun, but I have had 0 issues with it whatsoever. We'll get into some of the talking points here, standard talking points that we get into. Cost. SIGs are expensive guns, there's no getting around it. I actually didn't purchase this gun. I received it in a trade for another gun. It was literally brand new when I got it. The guy bought it on the internet and had never held it and didn't like the new grips, so he got rid of it and traded it to me. So generally these guns cost about $750, give or take, depending on the features you're looking for. If you're looking for that short reset trigger, it's going to cost you a little bit more. Night sights, etc., etc. Reliability, like I said, 100% reliable. No questions about it. The trigger, SIGs have good triggers for double action, single action guns. They're some of the best out there in my opinion. They're smooth, there's not a lot of creep in them. As you pull back, it doesn't stack or anything like that. The single action trigger though does, in my opinion, leave a little bit to be desired. It's got a little bit of play in there, and then when you finally drop it in single action, there's a little bit of over travel, probably a little more than I would like. But all in all, it's a good trigger. We'll get out the gauge here for you guys, see how it pulls. Factory specs say it pulls at 10 pounds double action. We'll see what it actually does in reality. You can see right there, it pulls right at 9 pounds. So nothing to complain about there. Single action is gonna pull at, it's supposed to be around 4 pounds. So you can see there it pulled at 3.5 pounds. So it's pretty close to factory specs. As expected, the more rounds you fire through it, probably it'll lighten up a little bit, which is probably why mine's pulling a little bit lighter. Accuracy, the SIG's an accurate gun. No, there's no getting around it. SIGs are known for their accuracy. The 229 doesn't disappoint. Very accurate pistol. Weight, like I said, the slide here is kind of a controversial issue. And should I get a 229 or should I get a 228 pistol? The 229 was built so it could handle the pressures of 40 caliber and 357, excuse me, SIG. So they had to make the slide a little heavier and more durable. In 9mm, it really doesn't matter, but in those more powerful cartridges, the 228 just couldn't handle it, so they had to beef up the slide. So it's a little bit heavy. Capacity, like I said, it used to come with 13 round mags, and now it comes with the 15 rounders that we talked about earlier. You can also get extended mags. I know they make 17, I've seen 17, 18, and they probably make other ones that I haven't seen out there as well. But it definitely has plenty of capacity. Gun carries well. I carry it in this little Don Hume holster. It's a cheap holster, but it works well. I have this holster for several different guns. You just throw it on there, clip it inside the waistband, and take off and you're ready to go. A couple issues I have with the gun. The finish. I'll zoom in there so you guys can see on the barrel. Barrel finish is starting to wear off more than I would expect. But that's not going to affect anything. It's just it's a superficial thing, if you will. But I would like it to be a little bit more durable than that. I also got a scratch here, and I don't even know what that's from. And I mean, I really haven't ran the gun hard at all, besides putting it in and out of the holster. Holster wear is minimal though at this point. But all in all, it's a good gun. Another thing I don't like about it, I should bring up here, is the SIG rail. It's a Picatinny rail, but it's not. It's got these rounded corners there. I'll put it up in the camera there so you guys can see. It's not really a standard 1913 rail. SIG has to fix that with their MK25 pistols, but on 229s they're still running that rounded rail. It works on a lot of lights. I run a TRL primarily on there when I use it at light, and it works fine, but some lights it won't work with, so just a heads up on that, something to be concerned with. And for size comparison, obviously the 15 round 9mm, the standard for that in the industry is the Glock 19. Just do a quick size comparison with the two pistols there, so you can see them side by side, how they stack up. They're pretty close in size. The SIG's going to be a little bit longer, which you can see there. It's primarily due to the higher bore axis of the gun. Like we saw out there when I was shooting it though, the 9mm, that's not really a big issue. A lot of people do say they like the gun to sit a little bit higher in their hand. I'm one of them, but with 9mm handguns, I really don't think it's an issue. It's definitely very controllable under rapid fire. Up next, guys, will be the chronograph, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Alright, thanks. As promised, it's time for the chronograph test. We'll be shooting 2 rounds of each load at a distance of about 7 feet, with the temperature being around 85 degrees, close to 100% humidity. Up next, up first, we're going to be firing some 115 grain Rangers, followed up by the 124 grain Gold Dot, and then 124 grain plus P HST rounds. Alright. There you go, guys. The chronograph doesn't lie.